Hello everyone, back to today's video. Going to have a look at the weather next week, 10 days. For today's video, this take us to the end of May. We'll go to pretty much the final day of the month with this update. So winding down this very strange spring that we've had. Started off extremely cold, of course, at the beginning of the spring. We was breaking cold date records. And now, of course, we got towards the end of spring and, well, we've had some very warm weather indeed. So we're going to see what the weather has got in store for the next week to 10 days. For today's video, just say that tonight we'll have a detailed look at the late spring bank holiday weekend. I think we're up to about update number 5 for that. So I'll have that for you around 7 o'clock this evening. So it's a really warm day out there again today. We've got this band of heavy rain across the very far northwest of the country, through western Scotland, down through Northern Ireland, really pouring with rain there. But otherwise, most parts of the country are actually dry at the moment, although we've got these showers just beginning to break out in the extreme southeast. They're going to get more widespread through the course of this afternoon. Not sure how widespread they're going to get, but certainly some parts of central southern England could get some big showers, possibly some thunderstorms through the course of this afternoon. I think they'll be quite hit and miss. You'll be pretty unlucky to get one in any one location, but if you do get one, you will know about it. It'll be slow moving, and there could be lightning, thunder and heavy rain contained within it as well. However, more or less high pressure is going to be in control over the next week, 10 days. These are the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts. We've got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS, which have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 800 feet. This area in the atmosphere, high pressure, low pressure, are being moved around by the jet stream running above. Blue extrapolates to low pressure, and red extrapolates to high pressure. So we can see that in the 7 to 10 day time frame, taking us up to the end of May, we've got this area of above average heights to the north and also to the east of the country, with below average heights out to the west. The flow and the jet, therefore, will be doing something like that. So on the warm side of the jet, we're close to this ridge, and we'll be pulling up the air from the south. Now, what we have to watch out for is, with this low pressure down to the southwest, we might start to bring up some thundery weather into the south and the southwest as well. And that's more particularly in around a week or so's time that we're at risk of doing that. This is the GFS, very similar. Got again the above average heights to the north and the northeast of the country, with below average heights down to the southwest. The flow and the jet will be doing something like that. So again, we're on the warm side of the jet. The closer ridge, we're pulling up the air from the south. It's going to be warm. Just have to watch out for the low pressure underneath that ridge, bringing the threat of some thunderstorms within the 8 to 10 day time frame. GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles look like this. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average at Telford in the Midlands today. So warmer than average at the moment. I'm going to stay that way for the next few days. And then going even warmer over the bank holiday weekend into the early part of next week. Generally, the ensemble in terms of the upper air temperature solidly above average, even through to the first week of June. That's that period just there. So this is a prolonged spell of warm weather that is taking up. Of course, we've been in quite a warm spell of weather since April, and it looks like it's going to continue for the time being. So a prolonged warm spell of weather continues probably into the early part of June. The temperature is dropping back a little bit through this first week of June. Not as warm as it is right at the very end of May, but nevertheless still above average. As far as precipitation is concerned, well, there are a few precipitation spikes coming through. They're mainly showers, so hit and miss thundery showers being forecast for the rest of this week into the weekend. Possibly something a little bit more definitively thundery at the end of the weekend and into the middle part of next week, maybe. But again, it's a long way off. The ensembles certainly aren't convincing about that. So overall, that's a fairly dry looking GFS ensemble, I have to say. And it is very warm as well. Service temperatures for Telford looking like this. 20 degrees is just there, plus 10 degrees is there. So we're seeing maximums of around 10 degrees Celsius at the moment. That's going to continue, 20 degrees Celsius, I should say, at the moment. That's going to continue through the next few days. Then over the weekend and into next week, it looks like those temperatures are actually lifting up, probably getting towards a mid 20 Celsius. Bear in mind, these do undercut the temperatures a little bit, so you can normally add on 2 or 3 degrees. So by the bank holiday weekend and the early part of next week, we could be seeing maximums into the mid to upper 20s Celsius before going into the first week of June, maybe sliding back a little bit, but still staying generally warm. It's a warm outlook, certainly for the rest of May and possibly into June too. Temperature anomalies are looking like that. It's going from the 20th to 28th of May, and we're coming out warmer than average for UK and Ireland. In fact, all parts of Europe generally coming out warmer than average. Highest temperatures to average up over Scandinavia. Very warm week coming up there. And precipitation anomalies looking like that, generally on the drier than average side for much of the UK and also for Scandinavia as well. It looks like it's a bit wetter though down across southern Europe. Portugal, Spain, Italy, Corsica, Sardinia, those areas in the Med look like they're generally coming out a little bit wetter than average. So it appears that southern Europe is wetter, northern Europe is drier, if anything. That's how the GFS is looking then for Thursday. High pressures dominating up over Scandinavia. We're bringing in these warm to very warm easterly winds, and this continues into Friday as well, and then we go through into the bank holiday weekend. High pressure is dominated, where the pressure is always weaker down to the south, so we are at risk at times of more thundery showers down across the south. But I think as we go into the weekend itself, Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be mainly dry, I would have thought, with any showers probably over across the northern parts of France, and most of the UK under this high pressure should be dry into the early part of the weekend anyway. By bank holiday Monday, we might be starting to see thunderstorms threatening the south again from France, and through next week that thundery low, it gradually starts to get a bit closer to us. So as we run up towards day 10, it does look as though southern and western parts of the country possibly get an increasing risk of thunderstorms. In the north and northeast, so we're still close to this ridge, so still mainly warm and dry, I would have thought, in the northeast. And that thundery breakdown doesn't last very long at all. It's not long before, in the extended range of the GFS, we're back to high pressure. So this is Saturday the 2nd of June. We've gone beyond day 10 now, but high pressure is ridging back from the Azores, so that will just bring a return to very warm and dry conditions. ECWF looks like this. So again, all looks rather slack in the south on Friday. There will be a risk of some thundery showers in the south, mainly dry up in the north. Let's go into the bank holiday weekend, and we see this high pressure taking over pretty much across all parts of the country through Saturday and Sunday. So a lot of dry and warm weather coming up over the first part of the weekend. This is bank holiday Monday, this thundery low possibly getting a bit closer to the south again. So bank holiday Monday may be threatening some heavy showers or thunderstorms to the south and the southwest. And then as we go through into the rest of next week, the ECM wants to turn things a little bit more unsettled. I'm not sure the ECMWF is performing all that well, though, at the moment. It does appear that GFS has been leading things just recently. But that's how we look by day 10 with the ECMWF. And actually, it does look rather an unsettled pattern that's setting up there, and also some above average heights beginning to get going around Greenland. I'm not at all sure about that, but if it came off, of course, got these areas of low pressure down here, but will probably be threatening some heavy rain moving up from the south and the west through the early part of June. But as I say, I'm not sure the ECMWF is performing all that well at the moment, so I think leave that alone and let's concentrate on period up to bank holiday weekend, which is going to be mainly high pressure dominated, a lot of warm and dry weather. There will be thundery showers at times in the south, so it's going to be a case day by day of just seeing how widespread these thundery showers are. They're going to vary day to day, so today the thundery showers could get quite widespread in the south, but they'll still be here to miss. Tuesday and Wednesday, I think the shower risk probably reduces. So by Wednesday, actually, many places could be dry. And then the shower risk might come back a bit on Thursday and Friday before reducing again Saturday to Sunday. So day-by-day variation for the south in terms of how many of these thundery showers develop. In the north, it's mainly plain sailing. Once today's wet weather in the northwest is out of the way, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and much of northern England are going to have a mainly dry and warm week. Over the bank holiday weekend, lots of dry and very warm weather through the early part of the weekend. possibly thunderstorms threatening from the south on Bank Holiday Monday, but I would suspect that's more likely actually a day or two after that, possibly through to the middle part of next week. And then where do we go from that? Do we break the weather down through early June and go into an unsettled pattern as the ECM is kind of implying by day 10? Or do we actually continue to ridge the Azores high back in for the early part of June and keep lots of warm and settled conditions going? I think my money would be on the GFX because, as I say, I don't think the ECM is performing all that well in its extended range at the moment. But we shall see as ever. Right, later on this evening, around 7 o'clock, we're going to have the latest updates for the late spring Whitsun Bank Holiday weekend. So come back for that then. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.